Well, some of this came from the consultation too. So let's put down video before I forget what we were saying. Video project, um, maybe possible installation.
Yeah, to be exhibited in a exhibition space.
Cool. So that's the second page of that whiteboard.
Yeah, and we are dealing with your moving
Yes.
from, I mean, to the digital domain with
In
your new
2012 to
smartphone.
13, yeah.
Yeah.
The same year you were moving from Istanbul to Berlin.
Yeah.
And so we're both migrating in some way.
Yeah. And you have this, at that year, you have an explosion of images. Let's say very clear memories of that year and clear documentation of this year. Whereas for me, it's a very blurry transition period where I was pretty much analog and abstract, also in the images I created, let's say.
There was also the journals. I remember we were talking about maybe using that's something. So that's more analog stuff. Yeah, and this came out of some of this came out of the consultation. I remember we got to this point in the consultation where
yeah, and then we, I guess, eventually focused on some things from this consultation session. Yeah, I mean, it was good to hear whether, yeah, what kind of things she was interested also, and yeah, a look from outside is always great.
there was one thing I thought of this week too, because we had talked about the time traveler thing in the consultation.
Yeah.
That there is time travel stuff happening here. And I joked about you're like my father, like in the Terminator. and it's funny, I'm teaching this book right now that's a time travel book. It's Kindred, it's Octavia Butler. And there's a character who goes back in time from the 70s, 1970s in the United States to the 1810s or 20s in the United States in the South. And she's a Black woman from California. And she goes back in time to basically slavery era. And so she's basically winds up enslaved. And it's like the first of its kind of narrative. Like there really wasn't anything like it when she wrote it in the 70s. So anyway, so I was listening to my students talk about it, and it made me think about this thing also, because that character is disadvantaged in that she's a Black woman and goes back to slavery era, so it's assumed that she's a slave or she's enslaved, and there's that. But then she's also has a great deal of advantage because she's from the future and she has a sense of the future. She has a sense that there isn't going to be enslavement in the future. She also can read and write. She knows what a pen is, like all these basic things. Like she knows what aspirin is. She knows what a pen is. She has all this technology that's very basic technology. And there was a point where I was having them compare the characters of the woman from the future and like some of the people she meets in the past, and like especially this one character. And again, like they're trying to get the kids to compare that and what that means. And really the characters from the past sort of don't see a possibility often. They don't have a sense of the future. They don't have a sense of a different reality. And I realized that she had the privilege of time. So that was the thing that I just sort of was like, this has something to do with our stuff, like the privilege of time somehow. And I'm like a little bit ahead in some way but there's privilege and there isn't privilege. But there's this idea that I jumped into the digital domain before you in some way, and I am like a native now because of it. Um, and then there's even immigration wise, there's the privilege of time and space. Like my family came here already. They've gone through a lot of the difficulty that you go through when you change countries, right? Um, and I'm the beneficiary of that. Like I have a facility in some way in this city, for instance, because I was born and raised here. So yeah, so it was just an idea. I don't know how to make it concrete again. It's just another idea.
Yeah,
But
but it's an idea for our text maybe that we could use
right,
to go
writing
alongside
words.
with the video. So
So yeah, for like words for the images.
yeah, we could come up with the text maybe,
Oh, yeah.
and then we could have a voiceover to go with the video. Oh, but then I wrote your name wrong. Oh god damn it. Wait,
But even in that,
I write again.
okay, sure. Even in that book, like, even though that woman is from the future, there's a bunch of things she can't do. Like she compares herself to Harriet Tubman, who was this runaway slave who helped a lot of people run away. She came back and forth between the North and the South, and she had no education. She had no, uh, none of the advanced, like Dana had maps. The woman from the future had maps and had all this information, but she never had the nerve to do what this other woman did.
Yeah, it sounds very interesting actually. Then it's connected, did you say?
Kindred, yeah, it's called Kindred. I think about, well, I've taught it many years, so I think about it a lot. It's Octavia Butler, who's just awesome. She's this Black female sci-fi writer from California. So she's a lot like her character, but it's like a meta character. Um, and yeah. So
Yeah, and
I'm from the
just
future,
wanted to
doesn't mean I'm
take,
either.
yeah.
And what does that mean for
2013
you?
explosion of images. Sorry?
Yeah, like what does that mean for you? If so, are you from the past? Are you from, you know?
In terms of digital literacy,
Okay,
I guess.
yes. But you were very, yeah, you were already dealing with film and you were doing film and all that in Turkey, so you just brought it to Germany or did that in Germany also. Okay.
So, okay. Yeah, I mean, these are the things that we can use for our text that maybe we can write together, and that could go along with the video project.
Yeah, so we need a script. We need
I
something.
mean, yeah. I mean, from the beginning, we were talking about
Words.
images and texts. This is very like this is our practices anyways, and this is where we felt comfortable with. So yeah, I think it's good that we arrive at this point.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I like it because it's looser. It's just looser, and we don't have to worry about. Yeah.
I mean, they are close enough that we can sense there are connections, but yeah, they are also not super connected. But we can create connections between between these, I think, in this kind of associative text, I guess.
Yeah, there's something about generations that I want to think about, like generation. like we're different generations of sort of migrant, immigrant, whatever.
Yeah.
Physically and digitally. We're like trying to generate this thing. We're generating now. Like this is what we're doing. Our creation is generation, you know. It's definitely like, you know, we've been thinking about language and image, but yeah, time is the thing that we're really thinking about. And even as we do this all, like, you know, we're 6 hours apart, we're yeah, something with generation. Maybe that's just a word I'm going to keep for the script or something.
Yeah, sure.
Time is the, in like Latin American literature, that's the, I think the main concern. Like the classic literature, like Garcia Marquez and all those people. Time is the concern, you know, it's 100 years of solitude or
sure.
What happens in, yeah, time is the concern. And they're very good at mastering time, and they can figure out like a sentence can be in like 3 tenses and stuff like that. Yeah.
Tenses, yeah, that's also interesting. Tenses.
Tenses, yeah.
Time in language. Tenses, yeah.
We're right.
Got it.
Oh yeah, we can fuck with tenses.
Yeah, we can play with this actually. That could be interesting for the text. We can talk about things that didn't happen as if they happened, or vice versa.
And that's certainly good and confusing and
confusion.
That's very confusing. Makes things feel cyclical. It's funny, I haven't thought about those big books in a long time. 100 Years of Solitude was like, you know, it's very important to many people, but they always talk about like the first line is several tenses. And
I haven't read it actually.
Yeah, I read it in English and a year when I was young, and then later, and then I tried to read it in Spanish. Oh my God, that was I couldn't. It was too dense. It's just too high level almost. I needed the English translation, but it made me feel like just a sellout American. It's just like I'm an American, you know, I'm just a gringo, basically. Like I can't read the Spanish. I can read more modern Spanish. That it felt very old fashioned. And I was like, wow, this is tough. I can read this guy Roberto Bolaño in Spanish because he's very modern. It's very conversational. But God, Garcia Marquez is like, woo, it's like flowery on.
But yeah, I mean, this could be the basis of our presentation also.
Sure.
I guess.